to another edition of Tech20 Tuesday and our series around artificial intelligence and education. This is, there's been a lot of chatter all through the district and all really right around the country and across the world about AI and how it's affecting it. And I've been hearing from friends all over the world about what they're doing in their school districts and what we're doing, and how that compares to what we're doing here. So welcome back, and I am very pleased to welcome a couple of friends, literacy coaches in our district, Melissa Walker and Christy Susi, and both of them have been talking to teachers. And so I wanted to just invite them in and sort of get their take and sort of ear to the ground and find out what the literacy side has been talking about, because they're really plugged in as literacy coaches. So welcome, ladies, and welcome to Tech20 Tuesday.
Thanks, we're happy to be here.
I'm going to stop sharing and so you guys can sort of take over. But yeah, so, in terms of AI, and maybe I'm going to sort of steal your thunder, but I'm going to try to introduce you, because I really haven't talked a lot about what we want you to talk about. But what are you guys hearing from literacy teachers?
Well, we're often the ones who bring it up. Like, have you thought about throwing this into AI to get some ideas? And really, what we've been met with is kind of like shock and like, are we allowed to use that?
Like we've named a big secret. They're like, oh, yeah, I've been trying out AI, but I didn't know if we were allowed to. And so we say yes.
Yes,
you're allowed to. So we're just going to share some of the ways today that we've been playing with AI and some of our experience with it as it relates to literacy. Watching some of the other Tech Tuesday sessions, Sarah said the idea of where's the human, so the idea of balancing the human and the AI, and that's kind of where we're landing here, of balancing the two, because we know the human is such an important piece. The human is what's telling the AI what to do, but also you're the human in your classroom, building these relationships with your students and connecting everything with the curriculum. So we're talking about how we do that, how we balance the human and the AI, and how we play around with that in the literacy world.
Okay, so some of the points we want to speak to today is, first of all, how to use AI to level text. Oftentimes, as literacy teachers, we come across texts that we have exactly what we've been looking for, but maybe they're not at a level that's accessible for our students. And how can we use AI to help us with that? We have a brand new holistic curriculum that we're all reading and reflecting on and trying to dig deep into. And we're going to show you some ways you might choose to use AI to actually help you better understand the curriculum document. And the last thing we're going to speak to today is creating relevant lessons connected to the curriculum using AI.
All right, so using AI to level a text. When you're thinking about a text to bring into your literacy classroom, you think about, what is something that my students would be interested in? Is this text relevant to the concepts that I am teaching from the curriculum? Is it authentic? Like, we want students to be able to read their world, so we want to bring in texts that are existing in the real world for them. And we want it to be accessible. We want it to be something that at every level, they're going to be able to use the skills that they have to have comprehension from the text. So when we're thinking about how do we balance the human and the AI with leveling a text, the teacher, the human, is the one who knows the students in the room, who knows the curriculum, and who is also experiencing the world around them. And for the accessibility piece, this is where AI could come in to help you. So we're going to show you an example today of a teacher sent us a text that they found that just was published this month.
It was this morning, so luckily we weren't planned too far in advance.
And yeah, the teacher sent the message this morning and said, I found this text, and it really aligns with a writing piece that I'm doing in my classroom. It's a middle school teacher. Do you have anything like this for middle level students? Great. So we went and looked at the text. I'm going to kind of bounce back between the two screens. that's in the way. How do I get that off?
I don't know. Jeff, how do we get the menu from the top? Oh,
It's in my way. Okay, well, here we are.
okay, so this is the text that the teacher sent us this morning. The deep joy of squirreling it all away.
And so we read it. And when you're thinking about bringing a text to make it accessible for, say, a grade 6 classroom, one option is that maybe you don't want to read the whole text. Maybe you just want to take an excerpt. So we read this whole text looking like maybe there's just one excerpt we want to take. And the text itself is quite complicated. The way that she gets to her feelings, she's talking about kind of the nostalgia of cleaning out a space and looking at all the items you kept and all the memories that go along with those items, like why'd you keep them? So there wasn't just one excerpt we wanted to look at the whole piece. So going back to the PowerPoint, when you're thinking about what do I want to change about a text to make it something that is more accessible to the students in front of me. If we think about Scarborough's reading rope, one section is about language comprehension, and these are all of the pieces that have to work together to bring students to an understanding of the piece. So they have to have a certain amount of background knowledge, vocabulary, knowledge of language structure, verbal reasoning, and literacy knowledge. So this is important because this is what I'm going to tell AI to either keep or help me change to bring this to be accessible for the students in my room. So to save us some time here, I copy and pasted the article into a Word document for easy copy and paste into Chat-GPT. So this is the same article, and I'm going to prompt Chat-GPT by saying, I'm a grade 6 literacy teacher. Please help rewrite the following text to a grade 6 level. And then I'm going to tell it how I want it to do that. I want to keep the title and the voice and the story elements the same. I want them to keep the specific examples of the items found from the original text. And then I'm going to say what I want it to change. So change the vocabulary, the language structure, and the verbal reasoning to make it a grade 6 level. So let's see. So I do that immediately. I already noticed that it didn't keep the title the same, but I've already read the text. So reading through, I can see the changes that it's made. It's made a lot of syntax changes.
And a lot of changes to sentence structure and word choice.
And so we did this earlier, like we wanted to show you a live example of putting into Chat-GPT and what that looks like, but we did it earlier so that we could spend time actually proofreading, because when we're talking about connecting humans and the AI, like you are still the human who gets to proofread and make those decisions about the text before just, throwing it off into your classroom. So yeah, so we noticed some things.
Yeah, we noticed some things. And you're always going to notice it. Like it does, sometimes it does a great job, sometimes it does an okay job, and sometimes it does a terrible job. I would say that this one was a really good job with some small modifications. So we did ask it to keep the title the same. It didn't do that. That's an easy switch, right? That's a 10-second go in and do that. So when we're reading through, we're reading both sides, and on the left-hand side, it makes a reference to a Taylor Swift lyric, which we want to keep in our modified version because we know that Taylor Swift's a part of the life that they are living. But when we went over, it did what we asked it to do, is that it took that phrase, in the immortal words of Taylor Swift, this is a champagne problem, and did exactly what we asked it to do, is to make that less complex. And they said, as Taylor Swift would say, it's a small problem in the big picture. Well, they're going to know that Taylor Swift did not say it's a small problem in the big picture. They know exactly what she said. So we know we need to change that. Another thing it took out, and it's highlighted here, is I lingered over the preschool artwork and the kindergarten love letters. I love my mom because she is as pretty as a butterfly. We wanted to keep that in because the students in grade 6 still remember spelling phonetically, and that's something that they're going to connect to, like writing those notes with all the misspellings that their parents loved because it was sweet. So that's another thing. So when we're reading through, we're reading through for complexity as literacy teachers, but we're also reading through for content, knowing our students and what's going to engage them and what's relevant in their lives.
And even looking back to the title, you can see why they changed it, because they're taking away the metaphor of squirreling it away, like the items that you squirrel away. We wanted to keep the title because we are going to write adapted from the original version to give the author that credit for what they were doing, and we're adapting it to make it accessible for our students.
And I would also use the title as like a quick mini lesson on that definition of squirreling it away.
And I think they could access that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know that. So another thing we wanted to show with ChatGPT, so thinking back to Scarborough's rope, this is obviously a lot of information in one picture, but it says that you need to have background knowledge to access comprehension. So we can go back to that same chat. And I know in Jeff's Tech Tuesday, he talked about talking back to ChatGPT and how you can continue to ask it questions to refine what it is that you're looking for. So I can ask, what background?
And when it gives you something you don't like say it says, an option is to give students a comprehension quiz. You can say, please rewrite the assessment ideas to not include comprehension tests.
So the idea of things like the pop culture, we talked about Taylor Swift. I know you all haven't read the article, but family dynamics, the idea of items containing memories and sentiments. So all of those things are things that you could pre-teach before looking at the article so that students can access that comprehension.
Yeah, like I would probably use a quick write of something that's, somebody's favorite thing, get them to.
Yeah, reach out to us.
Yeah.
So that's an example of using AI to level a text.
Okay, so here's another way literacy teachers might want to use AI, is that we do have this brand new holistic curriculum that we're all trying to become familiar with in a very short amount of time. So when we implement a curriculum, we think about what skill descriptors do I know well? What am I confident with already? How am I going to teach and assess these skills? And then what skills and skill descriptors or big ideas do I need to learn more about before I feel comfortable and confident in teaching these things?
So the human and the AI overlap here. You, the human, the teacher, you're the one reading the curriculum and making those decisions about what you know well and how you want to teach and assess those skills. The achievement indicators are there to help you in the assessment. And then AI can support you with ideas about teaching and assessing, and then also can break down skills that you want to know more about. So one other AI, like ChatGPT, I would still say is our fan fave, but we've been looking we're branching out. We are looking at Magic School.
No, yeah, we call it the Magic Bus.
We call it the Magic School Bus, like whatever, the Magic School AI. And one of the things I liked about Magic School is they have a lot of tools. You can scroll down and it seems like an endless list of ways that it's offering its support as an AI. And even looking at their list gave me ideas of how I could use AI or how I could play around with AI. There's even one in here about
that we didn't even consider.
Yeah, you never even consider. There's one in here about making a coaching plan, and I made a coaching plan and sent it to my husband who's a coach. I'm like, is this a good coaching plan? Like things that you just never even considered. He said it was pretty good. Yeah. So one of them that we starred here is the standards unpacker. So I never even really considered using AI to help me unpack a standard. So when we were looking to try it out, we went into our curriculum and we looked at one of the big ideas that is new to the 6 to 12 curriculum. So we looked at fluency. So we took,
because we're getting a lot of questions about fluency.
Yeah, of course, that's new.
Yeah.
So we took the skill descriptor and the achievement indicators. This is blocking my screen. And we put it into unpack. So we just copy and pasted the 10th grade, copy and pasted the standards we wanted it to unpack. And this is what it gave us. So it broke down the standard even further to kind of the 3 components of that skill descriptor, defined some expectations, gave suggestions for instruction and assessment strategies, and then kind of summarized everything that it gave us. So it just gave more information, or maybe it presented it in another way that could support your understanding of that skill descriptor.
So when I played around with this, what I found is if I had no idea of where to start in teaching fluency to high school students, at least now I knew what to even look up to get help in or to get more ideas on. And I found it really helpful for that.
Yeah, and just like we were talking about how we're just playing around with this, we played around with it yesterday and liked what it gave us better yesterday than today. So this is the one from yesterday, and all this is just to say, give it more than one chance. And if you like what you see, also save it and don't expect that it's going to pop that same thing out again. So this one broke down fluency in the same way, but it added some different elements about comprehension in it that the one we did today.
Yeah, and we were actually really impressed. If you scroll down, we were really impressed with this because we didn't tell it this, but it knew from its own searching that we need that reading strategies and vocabulary building is part of fluency building. So we were like, magic, school is doing awesome this time. It did great. Yeah.
Yeah, the employee had on behind the screen yesterday.
Yes.
So we had saved that, and just an example that sometimes you have to try things more than once.
And in more than one platform.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 3 minutes left. So
okay.
You're gonna have to go
very fast. The last way that we wanted to talk about was making the instruction relevant. So again, we're thinking, how does the human and the AI come together? You, the human, you know the students in your room, you're the one developing those relationships with them. You know their interests, their strengths, their needs. And then the AI can help connect the interests, strengths, and needs of your students to your curriculum and how you might provide some instruction that mixes the two. So for this one, we wanted to look at word study knowledge, which is another new big idea in the 6 to 12 curriculum. And we wanted to see what AI could give us for that. So we went back to our magic school bus.
Jump back on that bus.
And it has, not that one. It has a make it relevant section. So I thought this was really neat. So you put in your grade level and you put in what you're teaching. So again, we want to make sure everything aligns with our curriculum. So we copy and pasted the curriculum in there. We put in the skill descriptor, we put in the achievement indicators, and then it asks you to describe your students. So I just went very mainstream here and said, students love TikTok, sports, and fashion trends, okay? So we're in here on grade 10.
But like you can obviously put anything in there, but you can also describe what your students are working on or how you're hoping to support them.
And it's given me 3 ideas of how I can incorporate their interests into what it is that I'm looking to teach. So they have a TikTok vocabulary challenge, a sports terminology, and then a fashion trends. And this is where we combine different AI platforms. So you can see it's given you an idea.
And we really like the ideas.
Yeah. I love the idea of the TikTok being where you start word study, because it's like you going into their world. They know these words. And you get to show them how those words, how you can actually break down the word structure there and find meaning, even though they already know the meaning because they're living there. But we had gone into ChatGPT just to look at my history here and asked it to provide us a list of TikTok words and then the morphology breakdown, the context, the word parts, and the meaning. And it gave us that. So when Magic School AI gave us the idea, we took that idea to ChatGPT and said, give me more, give me more here. We like
specifics.
Yeah, we like being able to talk back to ChatGPT and ask more questions.
And ChatGPT is really good at lists. Like if you tell it, it loves the good list. So do we. We love good lists too.
It also knows the workshop model, so you can feed that in there. So we're kind of mixing the two, and it's just a lot of playing around and seeing how you can use it to support what you already know.
We better stop sharing.
Yes,
Lauren.
I know. Last thoughts. The teacher, the human, is always the decision maker. You know your students and your curriculum, so be intentional with how you use AI, and it can be a great support.
I am blown away. I saw so many great ideas in here in the last 20 minutes, 15 minutes for teachers on how they can practically use AI to get to the core of their curriculum and meet students. Like, wow, nice.
Okay, wasn't that great, Jen?
It looked really cool to me.
Yeah, well, that's just, and those are just a few of the ways really that we've been getting used to, becoming comfortable, trying to see what it can do for us, for teachers, to save time.
Well, thank you very much for your time today.
You're welcome.
And we will let you go off the hook now. And we will be talking to you soon, I'm sure. But thank you all for joining us. Jesse and Katie, Amy and Patty, and whoever else might be hanging out. If you have questions, just hold on. I'm going to stop the recording. That is Tech 20 Tuesday for today, and we will see you guys all again after March break.